Welcome to the CodPast podcast, where your fishy past hooks your brilliant future. With Dr. Deborah, Laura, and Dr. Trish.
Okay, here we go. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a hot minute. It's good to see everyone.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody. And thank you guys for staying in our little group and kind of waiting for us to reformat everything. The world's been so crazy that we've all had to take breaths and kind of reorganize and see whether things are fitting our mission and where we're going and all of that. And the three of us have remained stronger and stronger best friends, three-legged stools, three musketeers. And we've worked a lot every single day together. We try to inspire each other, and we just really started missing. We started missing CodPast, and it's so cute. I didn't even realize it. Laura knows, but Dr. Deborah doesn't. That Tom and I are sitting here together on a fish bench. Right now.
A fish bench.
Yeah.
Yes.
A CodPast bench right here.
That's a little fishy.
I know it's a little fishy. And so we're going to do what we normally do, and that is start off with some jokes, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
I got a couple.
Yeah.
I got a couple jokes for us. So, why don't fish play basketball?
Why don't they play basketball, not baseball?
Basketball. Couldn't find a baseball one.
They don't dribble?
What do you think, Tom?
Good try, Laura. Because they're afraid of nets.
Oh.
Why did the fish fail its test? Because
I'm
it
not
was
sure
below sea level.
I'm not even sure I heard the joke. I
You
just
get that
heard
one?
I didn't hear that second joke, Deborah. Your technology's frozen. Your technology's frozen.
Uh-oh.
You're in the mountains
Why did the
somewhere.
There you go.
Okay. Am I back?
Yeah.
Hardly.
Why did the fish fail the test?
Why did the fish fail the test?
She told us the punchline, but I don't remember what it was.
I know. Why did the fish fail the test? Because it had a tail?
Because it's below sea level.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, makes sense in context.
Some of the jokes.
I'm gonna move my hotspot closer to better connection. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Why did the fish swim away?
All right.
Because they didn't have a good hotspot in Detroit.
Exactly.
Deborah is traveling right now, so her internet connection's kind of iffy.
So, Laura, can you explain why we ever did CodPast? What was it for? What's it all about?
That's a great question, Trish. Years ago. Now, this is a while ago. This was probably about 2 years ago when we met Deborah. Deborah and I were talking about something, and I said we should do a podcast where we share everything we do together because we have such cool adventures and we've discovered so many emotional ahas and mental ahas together. And we kind of wanted to share that with people. And I was joking with her about how we could have a podcast and we could call it CodPast. And she's like, well, what would that be about? And I said, well, it would be where your fishy past hooks your brilliant future. And then it all started as a joke. And here we are. And we've interviewed I went through because Trish started talking about this again. We've all had some things happen in our lives. We'll kind of get into that a little bit over the next while. We have a long time and a long way to go, but we started recollecting all of our past podcast or CodPast and realized we've really interviewed some amazing people, or they consider themselves ordinary people who've had extraordinary lives. And they've had some things in their past maybe they weren't so proud of, or they were embarrassed about, or they were hiding from. But the more they thought about it, the more they realized it hooked into the brilliance that is their present, as well as what's coming down the future. They
Well,
really
and Laura, I want to add right in there that we were able to put on the podcast, on the CodPast podcast, our little friend John, who passed away a few months ago, and he was incredible. He was one of the last Vietnam vets that really, he was an emissary, and his story of courage and his war stories and his ET stories were just, he never ever opened up about all of those things that he opened up on our podcast. And then he passed away a few months after that. And so many people were so appreciative that we put him on such an open format that allowed him to really speak his truth in one place at one time, because he'd been honored in many military things, and couldn't always tell the truth about what he really felt like during the Vietnam War, during the different administrations of different presidents, and then later his proof about ETs. And so that was one of my favorite. I mean, we've had a lot of really wonderful people, but today I'm super excited because I get to introduce somebody that I care so much about and that I get to watch every single day, because we're going through a bunch of stuff together. We are choosing to kind of live in a 24/7 situation, because Tom and Deborah and I met. Wait, you met Tom after I met him, didn't you, Deborah? About a month or 3 weeks or something like that?
Yeah, about a month.
You weren't there the day we met, correct? Yeah. Well, we met about almost 2 years ago, but it's been about a year and a half. And then right after that, Deborah came out and stayed with me in Arizona for a while. And Tom is an ex-baseball player, and he's got quite a extraordinary bunch of stories to tell us about all of that. But unbeknownst to what was going to happen in our future, is that in September he was diagnosed with a brain tumor that we just kind of hit the wall. Like, all of a sudden we're looking at each other going, well, we weren't really looking forward to dealing with that in our lives. But we just kind of buckled up and said, we're in for another adventure. And I think Laura and Deborah and I always talk about the adventure of life. Doesn't really matter if it's way high or way low. It's just all part of the process. And we've been getting better and better and better about not going into fear or aggravation or sadness or whatever. I mean, we do, but only for hours at a time now, because we go, this is just part of the adventure. Some stuff feels better than others. And so we decided that we were going to approach Tom's situation like that. And then if he could bolster up anybody else as he's going through this, then everything is worth it. And so we decided, well, Tom just got over his last chemotherapy and radiation and just had another MRI. And so we thought, why don't we have him on the CodPast now and see if we can reach out to some of his doctors, some of his nurses, and really talk about kind of some of the stuff he's been through. So we're going to do this in a 4-part series. Today, you're going to get to know Tom just kind of as a whole human being, from the tiny baby to now.
Well, not that far. You don't have time.
And then,
No ancestor work, basically.
No.
and so, yeah, so, and then we'll kind of pull these procedures apart, what he went through, how he's done it, and what it might mean to other people. And we'll see, maybe we might interview one of his doctors or a therapist during this month. We'll just kind of play that by ear. But I think you guys are going to have fun getting to know Tom. And I think just his life story is going to really make you feel good all over and make you want to do some of the things he's doing.
It's
Okay.
not that fun. It's not that fun.
Yeah, it can be. I've laughed about it a lot. All right. So, do you guys have any beginning questions, or you want Tom to just start going?
I would love to know. I'm not going to go back as far as your childhood. I think we should, but later. I'm really curious.
But that's another wine. That's a gallon of wine. Get that. Just saying.
Well, I'm drinking water right now, so I'm wishfully drinking. But I am curious to know about your baseball journey and the likelihood, because it sounds like it was a one of one. It's really an unusual situation, and you were such a young man. So if we could maybe hear that story,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it.
It's a I apologize too, because I sometimes I get caught up with some words, but I'll just try to, because my brain is not all better yet, but
It's getting that way every day.
but it's
A little
getting
bit better. Yeah.
But basically what happened was, I was the first of 6 kids, and my mom was raising us because she sent my dad back to Long Island, and so I really had help.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
So
Your dad was sent back to Long Island.
yeah, and so my mom and so I was I would say the first of 6, probably did, but so I had to help my mom out, and I didn't really understand that life. I don't think until I was probably 21. And I thought, oh man, look at what mess did my mom get into with us, because I was thinking, man, how does 6 kids?
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah,
Can you come a little closer? Because it is breaking up a little bit.
Oh,
so
sorry.
again, that's okay. I heard your dad went back to New York, and then
Yeah, my mom said she goes, I can do this without you, because he was really tough, and he was, how I didn't over New York people can be, and my mom had said one day, well, that I asked her, I said, Dad, Mom, how come Dad kind of was the heavy
Heavy-handed.
yeah. And thank you so much.
you guys should sit together more, because I can hear you more when you're together. Somehow
okay.
I thought between you two.
All right.
So, what was I saying again? Heavy-handed. Yeah.
So why was he so heavy-handed?
Yeah, because she said the answer was, well, his dad was like that, and that's why you got raised like that. And I thought, well, that's not going to work for me, because my son Brian, I would never even think 1 second about doing the kind of like, hitting your kids, knocking them down, and just what was mostly the boys, but I mean, he was
Okay.
So anyway, back to the story. My mom raised us, and she was actually a Pro Bowler in her day. And back in those days, like the big weather days, women just didn't do that. Like the men would maybe let's say $30,000. Well, the women bowlers made about 1,000. Like, what? That's not right. So a lot of things happened. I had to help her, and she basically, I took my check and give to her, but how to make it, how much are you really making when you're 15? I sure can brag. I sure can do do grocery bagging like a crazy man. I'm really good at it. But so, what was I saying?
So you had about 2 or 3 jobs and you gave her the money and she kept raising the kids.
Yeah, she was getting kids. And one day, all my stuff was sitting on the yard. I said, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she said, "Well, you know what, Tommy, I got 5 more just like you. You got to go." I thought, "Oh, you love me," and she goes, "I did." And you pretty much like that. So I thought, well, okay. I had 2 buddies who played baseball. And so I thought, well, I guess there I'll go. So I went to UofA, and I was trying to be a baseball player there. And the coach at the time, they were one was getting out, and they said, "Well, you have too long of hair." So that's why you're taking the team. So I thought, well, all right. So I started doing, baseball in September time. And my buddies, we are on the same team, in like at nighttime, in baseball in the U. So, well, I forgot the start of this.
Well, you were talking about baseball and how they even saw you. And you were playing at U of A and you were playing intramurals and also for the school.
Yeah, but I got kicked off the UofA thing, and I was doing in.
You got kicked off for your hair, right?
Yes,
You were a better team player, but they said somebody else worked harder than you did.
that's right. Yeah, he said, you didn't work hard enough and have long hair, so you're out. Pretty much like that. And then, so, um, during summer league baseball, some guy walked to me one night, and after the game was over, he said, I think you can play ball. And if I get you a tryout, would you go to Phoenix and do it? And I said, heck yeah, I would do it. I got nothing going on right now. So I did. But what happened was I knew I was not. I got a really, really good fielder, and I was fast, had a good arm, but I didn't have. I could not hit the ball as well as I. What I keep, you keep giving me.
You can't make other noise.
I know, but in case you ask you. So what was I saying? What?
You were talking about going up and trying out for baseball in front of those coach scouts for the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, but so I knew I was not the best hitter. So the guy right down the street, his son was going to go to. And I thought, hey, would you let me play in your batting cage so that I could get better? He said, sure. He said, one condition, you're not here to just, screw around, and you are not going to do it in flip flops or anything like. You are going to get top to bottom. You're going to in full uniform as this you were in a game. I said, oh, I can do that. So I did. That was all he said. I said, okay, good. So I had about 3 more months to go to try out. And so I did what he said. And I was so, he was setting me up for the fact that, hey, it won't be any different when you get into the real game. And I thought, oh, I can do that.
And it was visualization. It was incredible.
Yeah, So, he goes, well, good luck, but that's all the rules. I said, cool. So I never cheated one time. I always did the rest. I was there to act like I was in the game already. So, um, I got so boring after a while. I thought, you know what? Doing right, this is boring. I'm trying to play lefty. So I started lefty, and then I could hit the ball where I wanted to, which I didn't know that was the key, that you want to hit it where you want to, not where you want you to. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do that. But then, so I was doing left and right, and left to right, and left to right. I did not know by doing that that was going to actually just conditioning me. So when you go on my first at the tryout, I didn't really have to hit too much at the time, but I don't know if I told that. So I was so
You were a strong
scared.
thrower, right?
Yeah, I had a.
Oh, you were scared.
I was really scared because I was like, well, what the heck? Well, all these guys from college are getting scholarships or the draft. I'm just a Tom, the guy that helps with it. The guy that has 5 brothers and sisters that has a mama. So my halfway through, when I got that part done, and I went to the tryout. I was so nervous. All the coach. I was so nervous. I just thought, you know what, just do the best you can. And so I heard the two coaches. Yeah, and the whole ballpark is no one there except for me and a couple of guys throwing the balls to me. Anyway, they said, you know what, Tom? I was so nervous. I overthrew the first base guy. I threw it out of the dugout, and then the last time I tried to throw the ball so far that I hit the only two guys in the stands. I hit them, and they're like, "Okay, sign him up, tone him down."
Sign him up, tone him down. Is that what they said?
Yeah.
So, and I just want to point out that he proved 2 things that we teach all the time. Visualization works, and you can rewire your brain with your body. So he did this body movement that rewired his brain. And I just want to say, he can tell the truth about this, but it's practically impossible for an adult to learn to hit with the other arm unless they've learned as a 3 or 4-year-old. It usually happens when they're little, and it's because of brain plasticity. People think they can't learn, and so then they don't. They just predict their own future. But your brain is always plastic. It can always do things, and that's kind of why we're practicing all this stuff. But anyway, yeah. So they signed him up.
Yeah, they signed me up, and
So he was called a walk-on. That was what I learned.
I was
It's a walk-on. It's not a signing bonus. You know how they give those guys like $1 million to sign up? He didn't get that because he was a walk-on. They literally put him right on the team.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have to pay those up front. But they don't normally do that because they don't want to be bugged by people trying to get walk-ons for their kids or whatever, you know.
But it was so weird that I just thought, I can't even believe I'm here. So the very first my ballpark, but I was down up in in Great Falls,
Great Falls, Montana.
Yeah. And so on the very first time I get up to the base, that thought, man, all these guys from college and like, and so guess what? When the game was over, I thought, this is all you got. This is it. That's it. I'm not. Wait a minute. You got all that money for this, and you're 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 pitching to me, and you're the ball that you are pitching to me is slower than the batting cage I was in. I'm like, what? I thought this is easy. Bam. So I started. Then weirdly, I could hit better on the right, left side than the right. So I got a lot of accolades. I guess you call it
Accolades.
accolades.
And he hit the ball out of the park a
Better
lot.
with the long. Yeah, I was like, gosh, I should have gone back to I thought, because I was pretty young looking, I thought I'm gonna just go back and be my brother and tell Tom, not Richie, and then I'll do it the right way, and then I can get more.
The
get
signing
more money.
bonus.
Yeah. Weirdly, I don't think any of you know this, but this guy that's found me in the very first night I came in, his name was Nick something. I figured out. One of these days, I gotta look him up because he said, "Well, we're gonna make a movie called the it's called it's the imposter in the infield." And I said, "That's a great idea." So he did video of me back in the 70s, and it was so weird that I thought, here's some guy I do not know, and he's taking my video of me under supervision or something. He was, I guess, I don't, back in those days, we didn't have a cell phone. We had, a home phone. So I lost track of those sadly, but I should look them up. But
Well, the reason they were talking about imposter is they made you change your name to Tom Anthony instead of Tom Rowan,
Yeah.
right? Because they didn't want anybody to look him up and find out that he walked
old.
on like that and that he was older,
yeah,
because that messes up their farm team kind of process.
yeah, you should
And
but you should be baseball by
20.
20, and I was already 5 years
25,
older.
yeah.
They said, and then so really crazy. One of my friends, after my very first year, I had I didn't like to be in the limelight. I just wanted to do my job. I did it well. They said, "You did really well this year. You're going to go to winter ball." I said, "Okay." Well, first day of that, guess who? There's my friend. "Hey, Jim Morley. Hey, Tom, what's up?" I go, "Oh, hell no, I can't talk to him." And he said, "Yeah, you know me, from UofA." And I went, "I don't know you." "Yes, you do. You of course, we're friends." Whoa. And I'm thinking, no, I'm dying. I'm dying of fright in the thing. And I said, I don't know how I even did it, but I thought, "Sir, I may look like that guy, but it's not me. I'm sorry." And I'm like,
So he had to be an imposter all the
"Oh
time.
God, yeah."
And then how did you quit playing for the San Francisco
Oh
Giants?
yeah.
So he had a real love. It wasn't baseball. He really wanted to play
Rugby.
And so they told him not to play any more rugby, to just play baseball. And and he's a renegade. He's like all of us. We make our own rules. And he
This is sad. I had the best. So weird. I was so excited and did so well that they said, "You're going to go to winter ball, and you're going to be, hopefully you're going to do better." And we'll just
winter ball, is that
winter ball.
winter ball?
Ball. It's a special thing for guys. Winter ball. Yeah.
Winter fall.
Winter ball.
Winter ball.
Like summer, winter,
Oh, okay, winter ball.
winter
So
ball.
it's some kind of elite club they get picked for or something.
Yeah, it's a
I guess it's like the Illuminati.
yeah.
It's baseball,
Baseball
baseball
players.
in the winter.
It's like if I was in the Steve Miller band, but I'm not.
Miller Band.
But,
It's a big elite
Yeah,
thing to get picked for.
yeah, and so my friends are like, "Oh, Tom, you giddy up. We're gonna see you next year. Well, what next league are you gonna do? Because it's single, double A, triple A, and the big D. On the last day, it's hard to even tell you this. On the last day, the very next day, I am going to the next uh, baseball camp, and I thought, oh, my friends want to go do rugby. Let's go do it. That'll be fun. And drink beer and celebrate, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Well, on the very last game, the very last part of the game, there was a guy that hit the ball towards our team, and it was right on the foul guy. The foul guy. Yeah, in 2 seconds, it could have went out of bounds, and we was all over. But instead, I thought it would be real tricky and be like this, or like that. And I tried to give it with my foot, and I broke my leg. And I thought, no, why did I do that? I got to be in Casa Grande tomorrow, like on fire. I got to be on fire. And so they said, well, you're going to go to the hospital right now and get a new cast. So we're so smart when you're 50 to 25 that I got to the hospital. I got my cast on. I'm like, oh no. So then we celebrated, thinking, well, that's a great idea too. Well, by halfway the celebration, I thought, I don't need the gas. Yeah, let's take it off. So my friends took my cast over, and we thought that's even funnier. Let's have another round. So I thought this is really, really funny at the time. Well, as life would have it, my girlfriend at the time, she said, I have a great idea. Let's get another cast and let's paint it, and they won't know the difference. I'm like, that's a great idea. So we got to go to another one. She paints it. The next day, it looks exactly with my uniform. You wouldn't even know if I didn't stop limping. You would not know. I broke my leg, and I went down to the tryout thing. I was sitting there with my friends, and then when we're all sitting there, they said, "Okay, kids, hey kids, well, all right, let's go a lap around the stadium, and let's go for number net for the new year of your next, the second year." And I went, oh, no, I can't run. What am I going to do with my cast? So I thought, the coach, I have a bad news to tell you that I broke my leg, and this is really a cast, but I painted it like it was my uniform. They did not think that was funny at all. So they said, okay, don't do anything. Don't walk, talk, throw a bat, not to do nothing, and to try to do your to change your motion. I said, okay. So I went back to Tucson, and I thought, I'm so in big trouble, because they knew I was doing rugby, and they said, well, how did you break your leg? And I went, oh, you know what? This is the craziest thing. I had a line drive, but hit me a hit drive. It was a line drive, and it broke my leg. They're like, you're fresh rugby. We're okay. Is that what you're going to go with? Yes. Okay. So they put me back to Tucson, and I ended up playing 3 more years for the Shreveport. But I never walked, talked, nothing the same. My batting, my stand, nothing was the same again. And I thought, you fool, for one crappy little pickup lane, you didn't know what you didn't focus. Because I had guys, Rick Aney, what his name is, he would sleep with his back. I mean, what? You sleep with your back? Like, no one's gonna steal it. But he was focusing, Yeah,
He
he's
was
like,
visioning.
he is the bat. Okay, well, you're crazy, but
So
he did.
so we're coming up on 20 minutes to go.
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
And
That actually,
okay.
I have a question about that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So that is that's what we would call a fishy past, right? Like that.
Yeah,
There's a
I'll say.
past story.
Right.
And it sounds like at least at the time you had regrets, like, oh my God, you obviously the Tom the day before the accident was like, who cares? I'll do. So
Yeah.
what would be your advice to someone who wants to be the renegade? Because you can't do incredible things if you're not a little bit of an outlier and renegade. But
Yeah.
how do you strategize that risk? Or do you just harness that risk? You had a problem and then you were able to turn on that and make it okay anyway. Curious to know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, and what's weird, I've had a lot of times in my life, when you go down different paths, when you're in your, let's say, 20s, that's the time to really, like, if you're focused, like I like
you were in the batting cages. You were focused.
yeah, because my friends would always say, "Oh, hey, come to the park, or let's go for baby rugby, blah blah blah." I was diligent. I would never go, "Oh, you know what? I'm just going to do four wing throwing, or like." I wouldn't shut myself off to do anything fun. I always stayed
In that batting cage.
in the batting stage until I was tired, And then I go do my thing. And now when you look at the back, when I look back to what I did, I didn't know that his dad was prepping me, um,
Prepping. That's
me,
right.
to focus. You are diligent. And that's why. So after the 4 years, I thought, you know what? It's not. It's like a lot of the guys. Well, people say, "Oh wow, Tom, that's so cool," because to get to the level, because I was have a lot of regrets of doing just. Why didn't I just, because that's what we do about things that we do in life. We have regrets, and what am I going to do? Just cry all the rest? I, I, you screwed up your head.
So maybe somebody who's thinking about doing something like that, just one word, pause.
Yep.
Pause for a second, think about it. But when we're in our 20s, we're invincible. Nothing, we can't make any bad choice because fun is number one, right?
Pretty much.
I get it. When you're 20, it's tough.
Yeah. And I think just kind of jumping forward, because we're going to delve into all these stories, I think, over the next 3 weeks, and sort of where we are right now in Tom's life and kind of how we're doing some things. So just really sort of fast forward, and then he can go out and tell these I hope.
I love your story though, Tom. I never knew it before. I knew little bits of it, but I really love your story. And I did want to tell you, I appreciate you telling it to us.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
I got to tell you one thing that because there's some things that just eat away at you. Because I saw it in myself, and I saw this little kid who was like 5 years old or 6. He he will not put down hockey stick. I don't care what it is. It could be a tuna fish sandwich. He'll throw it with his stick, and I'm like, I'm gonna tell I need to tell well, I already have, but that's the kind of guy when you want to do it because you want to do it, not because your parents said, oh, you'll be a great post. But because I had a lot of friends in like Jeff Allen, and I played in high school, but that the coaches, the parents are all like, put him in, do this, do this, do this. No, it doesn't matter to put him in or not. If he doesn't want to do it, he's not gonna do it 100%. So I tell people on the first thing when they say, what would you be your best advice for my son? Because like Emily, she has 2 kids. I said, here's what you need to know, Emily. They need to do it because they want to. Do not name it. Don't get the new hat or the cleats or whatever. If they want to do it because they want to do it, over and over and over and over. No, but how do you fit? Figure out how I did that. My dad wasn't even in the picture, so here I had to just figure out how to redo my left to my right, and I was so bored. I thought I can do this. I'm very glad to keep doing it. Well, that's the thing. If you can, because here's the whole thing about baseball, really. If you can play, if you can hit, you can play. Period. It's one sentence. We all can run and field and this and that. If you can hit, they want you. If they don't care if you're a catcher or a pitcher, they don't care. If you can hit, because the guy ahead of me was Jack Clark. I couldn't get higher up because he was hitting the heck out of the ball, and the guy below me was Chili Davis, and he was coming up. I was like, oh, I got a broken leg. I'm not ready yet. They're like, too bad, because then Chili Davis took me out, and I was like, oh, I'm done.
So Tom, tell us in the last few minutes, because we want to pull this together, then we'll pull it back out again. So how did you know something was off? Like you really hadn't been to the doctor hardly ever your whole life. You kind of had a life that was your own freedom, did what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it, and you're kind of happy-go-lucky, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then, so what happened, like, to put you in this seat right now? What happened?
How far back do you want to go?
Well, I think because we don't have a whole lot of time left, we've got, maybe 5 minutes before we got to undo it. I think, so why don't you start when you woke up and you tried to shave and it wasn't working that well and sort of was a surprise to you. So why don't you do that and then just quickly tell us kind of what happened, and then we'll go back into it.
Brain? So on one Saturday.
You can show them the picture of your head, right?
Look at my head.
There it is. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's a nice head.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's a good play. What happened was I was another day, Saturday, and I went to say something, and my words did not come out right. Like your words did not go in order. I'm like, what's because they well, what? I'm like, what's happened? Well, 911, the one, I said, oh, okay, I'm gonna go.
Well, wait, I want to back it up a little bit.
Oh.
So that happened. His speech was not great.
Yeah.
So he went in to shave and he just cut the heck out of his face, like all over the place. He looked like he'd been grabbed by bees or something. And so he called me and we went to lunch and he said, something's not right with me. And I said, well, I think you're having a stroke or there's something going on.
That was before.
Right. And so because this is kind of part of his tenacity story, which we want to kind of stay with. Tom has lots of different weird, quirky fears, and one was claustrophobia. And so we went to his doctor. I went with him, and she said, well, something's going on with your head. We need an MRI right away to see if we can figure out what it is. And they did an EKG, they did all that stuff, and he went to get an MRI and he came back out into the waiting room and goes, there's no way I'm going to do that. And I said, you have to. And he said, nope, not going to. Well, so anyway, this went on for about 3 weeks where he'd go in, come back out, quit, go in, come back out, quit. And he just could not do it. He would just completely freak out, like he was going to smother. And then finally, we tried the open MRIs. They didn't work either until the very last time. Finally. And I went in with him and I just did a meditation while he was in there, and he concentrated on my face while I did a meditation, and we did Young Living oils to calm him down. And I think also they gave you a tranquilizer too. But they had done that every time and that never worked, but that time it did. So we finally got the MRI, and then they saw that there was a tumor that was on that MRI that was pretty big. It was definitely, you could see it. It was like that big. And
like a big boulder.
And they showed us a copy of it. And the doctors said, look, you just need to go straight to the emergency room because your head's probably under a lot of pressure. And it's hot, it was like 105 here. And they said you're really risking a lot by walking around. And of course, this had been going on that we knew about for like a month. And so then he had this other scramble where he woke up and he couldn't talk at all. And because he hadn't gone to the hospital yet. And so he woke up and he called 911. And it took them, it took them, you guys, you're going to have to, well, just 1 minute. I'll just call right back. So,
We can.
it's all right. I'll deal with it. It was 911, and they had him on hold for half an hour because 911 across the United States is being used for silly things like how to rescue your cat or how to fix your computer. And so it's jamming up. It's just dumb people, I guess, but it's jamming up lines all over, and Phoenix is one of them. And plus, after COVID, they lost a lot of police and firemen and things like that. So we're down healthcare workers and emergency workers at a time when they got all these people clobbering them. So anyway, but they finally got him. They took him to the wrong hospital. Then I don't know what happened because I didn't know where he was for about 4 days. I didn't have a clue as to where he was or what was going on. But anyway, he, by the grace of God, he was assigned to the #1 neurosurgeon for brain tumors in the world. It was just by chance he was here in Phoenix at Barrows Hospital. Barrows is the top neurological hospital in the world. Specifically, they had Parkinson's, they had Muhammad Ali wing, and lots of different really famous people have been here. And so they've established a huge reputation. But anyway, he had brain surgery on October 13th.
Yeah.
And they took a very aggressive approach of experimenting on a drug that normally they haven't ever used. And they had to do a biopsy first to match his cells with that particular chemical
to see if it would even work.
And the cells did take it on, and it did work. So then they said, okay, we're going to take this kind of crazy approach. And my feeling, even though I really love natural anything, and that's my normal way, is what's the natural approach to fix something? I'll tell you, when you're in an emergency, or when you are in a car accident, or when you break your leg, you sort of want to be in the United States. And so I was so grateful that they had an idea of how they could deal with this. And they talked to both of us. And I asked Tom, do you want to live or do you not want to live? Because right now you could just decide, oh, I don't want any of that hard treatment. I think I'm going to just go party and just let things happen the way they're going to happen. And I'll do some natural stuff, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And I said, you can do that and just allow whatever, or you can take their approach, and it may not work, but it might. And if you take all the natural stuff and all the, the top healthcare kind of ideas, let's see if we can all just put something together and have it work. And so we talked to the doctors, we talked to the nurses, talked to the therapists, and we said, this is kind of what we're thinking. And Tom said, well, I learned how to bat on the other side just because I decided I was going to. So I think I can do this. And he said, I'm not ready to die. I just want to do whatever I can to make it work. And so that minute, he stopped eating sugar, because we know sugar is one of the worst culprits in any cancer. But he was a sugar addict, like donuts, candy.
I love donuts.
Pie, chocolate, tons of ice cream. I mean, he ate sugar just to keep himself alive every 5 minutes. And he stopped, just stopped. He drank 5 Cokes a day, stopped. Only drinking green tea made from organic in Japan, because that's the key. But he did all the stuff, and he said, you're like the only person I know that's really into healing. Will you help me? And I had to call these girls and go, like, right. And they're like, run away,
run, just run. I told her many times, just run.
Tom, I don't know if you know this, but Trish actually talks about not being a caregiver or nurturer, which is not true, but she does not identify as such.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but you don't tell Trish what to do.
Right?
Well, I just went, oh my gosh, but I also believe in God working in and through me as me. And I say that all the time. God works in and through us as us. And I believe that about everybody. I believe that God worked in and through Tom when he got his leg broken, when he didn't get to play rugby, but he played baseball, and he'll talk about this later. He lost his son a few years ago, and how he worked through that. I think God works in and through us in our situations, with us, in us, not somewhere else. And so when that happened, and all of a sudden Tom faces me and goes, hey, I need your help. It's not like we can be that for anybody who asks us for anything. That's true. But there's this moment when you just go, oh, I guess that's what my life's going to look like for a while.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's the easiest part is laying. I know you gotta go real quick.
No, it's all right.
No, it's all right. I know that the easiest part is laying on the table with my big mask with the, thing like in doing the radiation thing. That's easy.
Because he got over his claustrophobia, because we'll leave it on a cliffhanger, because I'm going to tell you next week what caused his claustrophobia. You won't believe it.
But I'm going to tell you real quick too,
because we got to go. 2 minutes.
Okay, my friend Wayne, and he's another gallery of wine to talk to, but he came out to see me in the hospital, and we all sat down one day, and at the end of the thing, he tells me that he has prostate cancer, and he says, "You know what? I'm
checking out.
I'm checking out." And I went, we both looked at him like, not our watch, you aren't. No. So maybe I had to go see my thing to tell my friend, dude, let me show you what's really important in your life, because I can tell you since October 7th, my whole life changed. So,
and what's important
and what's important. That's right.
And so, he has changed Wayne, because Wayne is now doing all kinds of things and calling Tom and saying everything's so much better. But we are all inspirational to each other, and I think Thomas had to get over so many things. So many things in this process that I think will help other people to deal with some of their stuff. Because the thing about claustrophobia, and he's got tons of weird fears, and we can trace them all back now that we're working on all this brain stuff. It's very fascinating, and we get to be on the edge of all these wonderful medical workers that are doing really amazing work with amazing machines and amazing processes, and these incredible life-giving foods and oils and vitamins and stuff like that we also know about. So it's just we're all in this CodPast together, and it's 2:00, and why don't you guys take us out?
All right. Well, Deborah hasn't said very much. Thank you so much.
I know. Sorry.
I'm gonna turn it over to Deborah and let her lead us out.
Well, all I know, Tom, is don't be sorry, because this is what the CodPast podcast is about, is our guest is the spotlight. So I really want to thank you for all your bravery and courage, and your just being who you are. We appreciate you.
I love you too.
And I'm so glad we're back with the CodPast podcast. I can't wait to hear the rest of the story. And I think we'll just go out on that. And Laura and I thank you, and Tom, thank you.
Yeah. We love you guys. And
we'll all four be back next Friday and continue the story. And just remind me to tell you about what caused his claustrophobia.
I'm telling you a joke.
We're gonna have to write this down, right? Like, and maybe we really are doing ancestor work after all.
All right, guys. We love you. Thank you for joining in, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.